Cavalcade, the Best Picture winner of 1933, is a bit of an odd duck. See, with Broadway Melody and Cimarron, we had some outright bad movies. With Wings, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Grand Hotel, we had some really good movies. But with Cavalcade, as soon as the credits started rolling, I started to forget what all happened. It's not bad. In fact, there's some really good camera work in here, some decent acting, and overall a sense that the film medium is moving forward. There's even a few sequences that are truly gripping and memorable. Overall, though, it left me wanting more. I mean, it's the story of an English family over the first 3 decades of the 1900s. That covers the Boer War, the death of Queen Victoria, the sinking of the Titanic, World War I, and beyond. All of which are depicted here. It's just, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is Cavalcade. The technical. This absolutely floored me. Less than a decade after Broadway Melody, to have scenes like this, showing a theatrical performance with proper framing, fluid camera movements, and adequate sound is really a testament to how far the medium came in such a short period. Many of the large events of the movie have a grand scale to them, with large, cheering crowds. Unlike in, say, Cimarron or even All Quiet on the Western Front, the sound is perfect in the vast majority of these scenes, with the important dialogue rarely getting drowned out.
Take care of yourself.
I shall probably be seasick.
There are very few obvious jump cuts, and the editing keeps the story moving briskly. The movie really shines when it comes to World War I, towards the end of the movie. The whole war is covered in a montage, showing the years flying by with superimposed imagery of the horrors of war, on top of the steady marching of soldiers from right to left, from fore to the background, giving a subtle but real sense of futility to their movements. Couple it with some stirring music, and I'd be willing to say that it's a more gripping depiction of World War I than any one segment of All Quiet on the Western Front, which is not a compliment I hand out lightly. The writing. This is where the movie stumbles, but only slightly. As I said earlier, nothing about the movie is particularly bad, but it seems so hell-bent on getting as many memorable events crammed in as it possibly can. It just lightly grazes them. I was genuinely excited to see the first depiction of the sinking of the Titanic in a Best Picture winner, decades before James Cameron took on the subject matter. It's covered in about 5 minutes, with no mention of the actual sinking until 10 or 15 minutes later. Seriously, the DVD case shows more of the sinking of the Titanic than the movie does. The movie spans 2 wars, both of which have main characters participating, without ever showing the front lines, outside of the superimposed images in the World War I montage. Events like the first crossing of the English Channel in a heavier-than-air aircraft are glossed over as simply as,
Look! Blériot flying the Channel! He's done it!
The way I tend to judge things like this is, if the audience had no idea of the significance of the event, would it be communicated through the movie? A couple walking on the deck of the Titanic, or observing some guy flying over the English Channel, doesn't drive the point home. It relies entirely on outside knowledge to make it significant. I know something like James Cameron's Titanic was technically and financially impossible at the time, but you can communicate it in other ways. As is, the movie rushes on to the next point before the previous point can sink in, or even complete its delivery, which makes some truly devastating or truly uplifting events feel incomplete. Beyond that, the characters are completely forgettable. I honestly, without the help of Wikipedia, can't recall a single character's name in this movie. The passage of time over the course of 33 years isn't handled as well as I'd like, but it does fill in the time more capably than Cimarron did, and it does acknowledge that the womenfolk do have a life while the men are away, so it is a step forward at least. There is a continuing theme throughout the movie of everything changing so swiftly that, I imagine, would have struck a chord with audiences at the time, having so recently crashed from the roaring 20s directly into the Great Depression. But nowadays, the message rings a bit old-fashioned. Overall, the writing isn't terrible. I was just expecting something a little more monumental, given the subject matter. The acting. It's fine. Really, that's about all that can be said about it. The actors come on screen, say their lines in a convincing fashion,
Oh, your ladyship.
usually, then they leave. They don't leave much of an impression, but they're not distractingly bad. Cavalcade was the very last movie on the list of Best Picture winners to be released on home video. Even now, the movie's only available either in a DVD Blu-ray combo pack or a pricey box set. I choose to believe this was not a conscious decision, but rather the people at 20th Century Fox just forgot they had it. Aside from the World War I montage, the whole thing is completely forgettable, which is all but unforgivable given the subject matter. All the same, the technical aspects give a sense that the medium continues to move forward, and that some truly great filmmaking could be just around the corner. For now, we'll just have to do with a harmless, mediocre, but thoroughly forgettable movie. Alright, another one done. Well, that sounds sturdy.
Then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, or the times they are a change.